at one was moved back, and that's and within that you have to have. It's not the same player, right? So, and we felt like the draft was going to go that way a little bit. There was a lot of people that were attempting to move down, so we were thinking, okay, maybe we could move up depending on who was there. And then there was a stay pat, and then through it all, we always really, really discussed would there be an opportunity to move back based on being close to the late, whatever you call it, late first, close to the second. A lot of times that's a good place to be if you want to trade back. That's what we did, and we thought the value, we had a lot of offers, but Atlanta's value was best for us.
There's been a lot of analysts that this draft has kind of flattened value from the next 20 to 50. Is that kind of how you view this landscape too?
You know, what I've often said is this is a draft with good football players in it. So I think it's a draft that's kind of got punched, not a lot of wow. I would predict that in a few years you'd look back and a lot of these players who have been picked are going to end up being contributors, successful contributors for NFL teams.
I think the biggest thing, too, is there's a lot of appreciation for, let's just say, your top 100 players, and there's maybe not as big of a discrepancy between those guys that are in that top 15 to those guys that are maybe in our 85 to 100. So I think Les and his group, our coaches, working in collaboration, there's a lot of appreciation for a lot of players that will be pulled off the board tomorrow and in the early parts of Saturday. And so I think looking at where our team is overall, the value that we were able to get to be able to move back just 20 spots felt like it was too good to be able to pass up, and we're going to come away with some good football players tomorrow for sure.
Moving back 20 spots to get a number one next year, was that the overwhelmingly why it was right to do this?
What do you think?
I wasn't in the room.
That's what the charts say, dude. But again, having a one next year, that doesn't, you got to have someone that really wants to, come up to give up that type of pick. And again, there was multiple teams that wanted to come either up from later behind us in the first round and even in the second round. It's just the Falcons wanted Mr. Pierce a little more than they wanted whomever they were coming up for.
Did you know that going in?
No, we're probably wasn't expecting a one. Based on the QBs of this draft, there was some scenarios where you said, okay, maybe a QB falls in a team if they really like that QB, would give you a next year one. Usually it is for a QB. So we ran through that scenario, but you can't plan for that one.
What's it like to see James and Jacksonville kind of take your pick strategy and trade up?
You know what? I can say this. You only live once. Don't be scared. You only got one life. Make sure you're not scared while you're living it. So, you know what? James is living his best life tonight. Go get him, James.
That's right.
Did you guys make any attempt to move up to try and get someone, a particular player, and were unsuccessful?
The answer is yes. But it was really for no particular player. We just wanted to get up and see how the board fell. Nah. We did make try to move back, but it would the value going up there. Teams were asking too much or more than we would give.
When you look at the top of the second and into like the meat of the third pick, what are a couple of clusters that have stood out to you for player as value?
Wow.
You know
Jordan.
we're not answering that.
Jordan, I'll text you.
I appreciate the
I'm
attempt
gonna run
there, though. I like what
I'm gonna
you guys
text
did
you our
right
board. I'll
there.
take a picture of our board and text it to you, as long as it's between us. But I can't. We did talk about strategies. Okay, if we do move back, right? We do have some players in mind, and what we'll go is once this is over, we'll go see how this first round ended, and then you're going to have to run through your scenarios because we have about 14 picks before our next one. So, but we have specific players in mind.
I think the good thing too is there wasn't, not necessarily the exact order, but there wasn't a lot of surprises in regards to who you think's going to go in those first 25 picks. This was always a scenario, unless there was specific things that go up that you probably are saying you're going to go back. And we felt like going into it, talking even this morning, this was going to be the most likely scenario where we probably weren't going to pick tonight. And for it to come to fruition and for us to be able to get the value back ended up being better than we anticipated. But I think, you look at it, and obviously the Falcons had a real appreciation for who they were coming up, and that's what's so unique about the draft. No different than us really wanting to go up for Fisk last year. Those point charts, those things are out the window when you have a real appreciation for a player, and they clearly had that, and so kind of it aligned for us, and Tony did a really good job of being able to communicate with them throughout, even a handful of picks ahead.
I mean, really, I think it's really now at that point all the work that goes into setting a board. That is, I always say that's board specific to each team, specific to us, based on needs, fits, players we like. So now it truly is looking up and waiting and seeing and at that point using the board. That's why we stacked it. It was fun to watch, because James was here from afar, and I call it attack, be aggressive. Obviously, they had a lot of passion for that player. We didn't discuss a lot leading up to the draft, so surprise for me. But I can't say.
They believe that?
You know what? Here's what I can say.
Just kidding.
James always had an affinity for Mr. Hunter. I didn't ever think it was realistic for him, though.
Yeah, that's right.
But I do know this. There was a moment in the last couple of weeks where he was really asking. I was connecting him with a good friend of mine that knows Mr. Hunter well, and I'm like, James, you can't get. What are you doing? Why are we wasting time? So had a little inkling that maybe something was up.
You went 7 years without a first-round pick from after Jared Goff. Now you have 2 next year.
For now, we do. For now.
Oh, Sean's going to get impatient in the morning. We're going to scream back up and give.
All right. Thank you.
Thank y'all.